And to bring things into perspective, these are issues that we're hearing about small islands that are many thousands of miles away from the UK. But to bring a local perspective and a Scottish perspective to this, we will now be joined by Dr. Amina Camps. Amina is the project manager for the North Uist Development Company based in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, where she's currently delivering a pretty extensive community wind project. Her expertise covers energy and climate change and mitigation, and she will give an overview of life in the Outer Hebrides and climate change. So to bring that Scottish perspective into this conversation, Amina, over to you.
As mentioned, I'm living in the Outer Hebrides. I'm fortunate to be living here. As a bit of a background introduction, it's an island chain off the west coast of Scotland. Causeways and ferries connect the islands with primary ferry routes to the mainland. These islands are home to around 27,000 people, as well as a rich flora and fauna of global significance. They are largely low-lying islands with winter storms embedded into the island culture. They are fragile, both economically and environmentally. You can see in the photos on the screen, the bottom middle picture is the beautiful Makara lands that we have here, as well as photos of it on a good day, whereas on a slightly worse day, like we have at the moment with the rain and the storms hitting, the right-hand side shows what the flooding situation is on these islands. We are already seeing the impacts of climate change with an increase in extreme weather events. Flooding is a growing issue, both by heavy rainfall events and sea level rise, and coastal erosion as a consequence of this. That top image there is of Tai Kerseba, which is an art centre in North Uist. It's subjected to flooding events each year, and it's getting worse each year. They recently highlighted sea level rise issues caused by climate change in an art installation that you'll be able to see in the video I'm just going to show you. So you will see the lights that actually represent where the sea level is going to end up. And the sensors are triggered at high tide. It's a little bit shaky, the video, sorry. The shakiness will be the consequence of the winds outside at the moment. I think it really shows a visual example on how effective it can be in demonstrating the impacts of climate change. Extreme weather events means the islands become further isolated as ferries are stopped and causeways are closed. The islands are dependent on imports, so ferries are a main topic of conversation. So if you go to the shops, the first thing we talk about is the weather and the ferries. Other impacts include land loss for uses such as crofting, agriculture. Fishing is an important part of the economy, and fish stocks are changing, with fishing days reduced as the weather changes. You'll see at the bottom there, there's a picture of tuna, as tuna is starting to be seen in the waters here. It's been shown sea lice increases as a consequence of warmer waters, which then impacts fish farming. Crop yields for animal feed are reducing, so more is imported, and the cost of the bales is increasing. As part of the renewable energy project we were undertaking, we invited a very well-respected member of the community to come and talk to the children at the primary school about how the islands have changed over the years and how the climate has changed. But to our horror, when she actually came to speak to the children, she told them that she didn't believe in climate change, that the weather changes, it has changed numerous times over the years, and people change with it and people adapt to it. But she did acknowledge that there were changes to the weather patterns. So despite knowledge that the climate is changing, many still doubt it is caused by humans. So one question I ask everybody today is, has the discussion been framed correctly? Let's also not forget these islands are part of a global economy. Unemployment is on the increase with the global pandemic. The local authority, the Kula, is in deficit and facing service costs as a consequence. Fuel poverty is a big issue, as are mental health and alcohol and substance misuse issues. So climate change highlights the growing inequality in society. People who are worrying about how to put food on the table or how to heat their homes do not have the energy to then solve the world's crisis. As an example of this inequality, peat is an important part of the culture here as a heat source. Air source heat pumps as a renewable option are being rolled out across the islands, but to our crofters, who are used to almost free peat, the only cost being labour, the electricity for a heat pump is a significant extra expense and a burden on an already fragile community. So David Attenborough recently said, as part of his new documentary, that if we had a more equal society where those that have a great deal have a little less, the natural world would begin to flourish again. Islanders are resilient and innovative, and there are numerous projects the community is working on to try and resolve some of these issues. But the answers lie with those who have a great deal. The answers are international and requires a global societal and economic shift. The loss of these islands would mean the loss of the Scottish Gaelic stronghold, the loss of a unique natural environment, and the loss of a distinct culture, a loss we of course wish to avoid. I've just put on a link to a project that has just started in the Outer Hebrides on adaptation, and I believe Constance is participating in this meeting today. I'll post the website link in the chat, and if you wish to find out more about that, then that's Constance's email address, and I've provided my contact details for information.